ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयामदेवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. The understanding of Brahman as oneself has to be done, and this is what is Prakritam, this is what we have been discussing, has to be accomplished from two standpoints, both of which are, I can't even say important. I mean, without it, the understanding doesn't take place. The word important is, not even fitting here. They are inextricably linked to the understanding and inextricably linked to the Vedantic concept of liberation, moksha. Liberation from what? From feeling that I'm under someone's thumb. That is what it is. From feeling a sense of constriction. And the sense of constriction is not just, internal. Internal also it is there. But there is a manifest universe that I have to encounter every day. And without interrogating it, without making peace with what that is all about, and without seeing that that is an orderly universe, it's not some kind of a random, projection of, somebody who had a lot of time on their hands, didn't know what to do. There are certain mental projections like that. And so this is an orderly universe, and this universe is non-separate from the source, for which you have to understand this, and this is in Sanskrit. The term is abhinna nimitta upadana karanatvam. Karanatvam, causality. Abhinna, non-separate. The same source, that same non-separate source I see as the cause. And what is that source? Nimitta. It's the intelligence. It's that flawless projection coming from this omniscient, all-knowing, which means all-knowing, conscious being. And then what about the matter? The matter cannot be coming from somewhere else. Matter also comes from the same source. What is the matter? The material. Just like that spider example we've been seeing. The matter also comes from the same source. And the know-how to cook the matter also is coming from the same source. That's why the spider example becomes very central to our understanding. So this is what is to be understood by this. What is the 7th verse or 6th verse? What is the 7th verse? Huh? 7th verse, yeah. This is what the message is. That this is what has to be understood without any internal vagueness or doubt. there seems to be a proliferating doubt. Like, why is it not enough if I just know Brahman as Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam? From that standpoint of, why not just say that Brahman is the truth of everything? It is that consciousness which includes me, which is also me, which is everything. The I in you is the I in me, is the I in everyone, and you can just say I, enough. Nothing more is needed. Why not just be contented with that happy, swimmy feeling of being everything? The question is, has to be thrown back at you. Are you happy knowing this? Well, I can be. This is all conceptual anyway. This is what people say. Brahman is a concept. And so if I understand this concept that everything is just me and I am everything, then that's enough. Why we have to deal with, all these forces, and don't force me to deal with forces. And then you say there is a single force. Now that is brute force. Don't do that. I'm just happy with this. I don't want to, deal with the source. I don't have any resources to deal with the source. This is where one feels incapacitated. And that incapacitation is actually a resistance or a fear coming from all the ways in which God has been pushed down the throat with a stick, in childhood. This is what it is. The concept of God in Western theology, even in families where they say that there has been no religion at all, they never went to church, whatever, but you don't have to go to church, it is all over. Yeah. Even in McDonald's, there is the presence of theology is there. You just have to look. Even if I say today is the 9th, right? 10th. Today is the 10th. I'm a little behind. So, today is the 10th of May, if I say, that is also a theological statement. Yeah, a Christian theological statement. It's not, you may say, oh, that's just the date. It's not just the date. Because how is the date calculated? Yeah. That's why it is CE, Christian era. See, already even in the date, we have theology. Left to us, we will be computing it in a different way. And left to other, indigenous traditions, they would be computing it in a different way. So therefore, we should not make the mistake that we are untouched by the dominant theologies because we had an a-religious, a-religious means not a-religious, I'm negating it with a nunge particle a, with a negative particle a. So, irreligious background. And just because the family did not push me to go to church, and just because we really did not believe in anything, all this makes me somehow immune to God allergy. Don't think that. Because God allergy is there, like the pollen. It is, it is everywhere. You go outside, you catch it. You're inside, you catch it. You cannot be immune to it. That is like a kitten drinking milk with its eyes closed and thinking that nobody will catch it. It's called being in denial. Yeah. More fruitful it is to examine how these herds of the dominant religions that are by nature proselytizing, how has it affected my psyche? That is more important, that is more fruitful, rather than to say that I have somehow been sheltered from that. It is impossible. because it is ubiquitous, it is everywhere, and it is invisible because you cannot see theology. You can only be affected by it. And in the dominant traditions, God is presented as an entity who is inconstant, sometimes loving, sometimes mad, sometimes bad, sometimes rains, fire, and sometimes is loving, and sometimes, you have to worry about this judgment day. And this God is not abhinna nimitta upadana karanam, not at all. What is that? Scroll back and listen again. Yeah. So, abhinna, it's not non-separate. That the creation, the so-called creation, is not non-separate from the Creator. The Creator is depicted as having created the universe and then abandoned it to repair into a, penthouse called heaven somewhere above. And everyone else is in the, Janata flats below. Janata means the masses. Flattened by Bhagavan who is above. And then what? And then somehow you keep yearning for that. And you keep being good. And then after life you will be united with this. Why do I have to be united with someone who abandoned me? People who are adopted often do this. They search for the biological parent, mother usually. Mother gave up this child because she was perhaps a teenage mother, so many problems, so they couldn't raise it, gave this child up for adoption. And then since it was an open, adoption or whatever, the possibility was there to open the books. This child, upon reaching 18, starts to do, what's that? Starts to play James Bond and looks into who is the biological mother. Why did she give me up? Because that's all the child wants to know. The adult, the young adult wants to know. And then afterwards the adoption agency will tell also that this is your mother, she gave birth to you, she is in such and such a city. And suddenly this adolescent develops cold feet. I don't want to go meet the source after all. That source which gave me up. Why would I want to meet? This is human nature. And similarly, if God is presented as sitting in heaven, heaven doesn't look like a very nice place. Why isn't he here? First of all, that he has to be, first digested, assimilated. How it is possible? Why it is a he? Oh, but he is formless. Then if it is formless, why does it have a gender? And more importantly, why does this God need a location to live in? Formless doesn't need space. All these things have to be understood. And this is where the hurts lie. I'm not criticizing the theology, or I'm criticizing basically the theologians, who have certain selective interpretations and rather convenient interpretations. You have to interpret properly. You have to interpret in a way that is at least conducive to one's understanding. So much is all these, ways, and also I'm criticizing the ways in which these kinds of beliefs have been so subtly internalized that one doesn't even know that one has internalized such beliefs. That's why there is the fear of meeting the real parent. Yes, because this fear of abandonment is created by these such theologies, theological interpretations. Because there are no answers. See, without the concept of karma, There are no answers why there is inequality. Why some people seem to be doing well even though they are not dharmic. And why other people, even though they are dharmic, somebody else is getting the promotion and all the money, and these people are still, even though they are supposedly very good and doing all wonderful things, they are still not, materially progressing. There's no way to understand this other than to say the ways of God, you, lowly being, cannot understand. They are mysterious. Mysterious for whom? For the one who's having the short end of the stick. And then there are certain chosen few that always seem to be, doing well. And collectively also this is an evangelical problem. The problem for the evangelists, which they solve using very strange explanations. So we have, whenever there is some tsunami, it was in 2004, there was a horrible tsunami. 150 people and so many villages, thousands of villages off the coast of India, Indonesia, wiped out. Villagers wiped out. Some managed to escape, some died. Many died. And the evangelicals rushed to help. Nothing wrong. Only thing is, don't attach the Bible to the food packets. Yeah, the food packets that were being sent had Bibles attached, and if you accepted that, you welcomed, Christ in your life. And this was a problem. And the explanation was, because those areas are not Christianized, God annihilated them, because God wants everyone to be Christian. This is, senseless. These kinds of activities, these kinds of forcing, which our cultures and traditions have known, these kinds of forcings have, these kinds of force, in changing people's thoughts, ideas, beliefs, have had a very devastating influence in trying to make the world a religious monoculture. And the same thing is happening with crops, thanks to Monsanto and other, forces. Same thing is happening to the ecology. There is a monoculture. And even in this country we see that there are very subversive attempts to establish this religious monoculture, even though there is freedom of religion. At home you can do whatever you want. You can have weird practices and, prayers. But in public, it's always a monoculture. This is what is the problem. This is why people are resistant to even seeing or understanding or even giving the possibility that there may be something objective here. That source, if I know, perhaps that will be a key aspect of my liberation from feeling that I am, from feeling of abandonment, from feeling of fear, sorrow, all these things. That sorrow and fear are not because I lack experiences of oneness. That experiences of that swimmy oneness abound in the universe. Whenever I sleep, I am in Brahman. I am Brahman. I am that consciousness, endless, all knowledge. No problems, no fears, no tears. But then when I wake up, why does samsara start? Because I don't know this. Yeah, I don't know this. Very important standpoint of abhinna nimitta upadana karanatvam. I'm resistant to that. And this is because of the hurts. And those hurts have to be held. Those hurts have to be consoled. And because this is a manifest universe, a universe that appears to not be random, because it's full of orders. That's why we call it order. Otherwise, we won't be able to walk if gravity just was there whenever it felt like it. You know, between here and there, some places there is no gravity. Then you'll be floating around. Newton did not invent gravity, he just discovered it. Yeah. He was sitting down because of gravity. Apple fell on the head because of gravity. A few brain cells came alive after the apple fell on the head. He didn't invent it. If he invented it, that means what? Before Newton there should have been no gravity. Then there would have been no Newton also, because the mother would be floating around somewhere in space. Yeah. So therefore what? This is an order. That's why we can do research. There is an order to everything. There is the anatomical order. The body itself is a very orderly thing. Despite eating French fries every day, it continues. That's what's the meaning of trans fat, because somehow it has transcended the fats. That's how, it continues. And sometimes you think, look at this person, smoking, 10 packs a day, and drinking, and then, eating all kinds of things that they tell you not to eat, trans fat included. And then lives to be 101, not a single sick day in the life. And then he was asked in the interview, what did you do to live to a ripe old age of 101? And he said, I just ate what I felt like, smoked when I felt like, drank when I felt like. That's all it is. So this is something which is, there is a very interesting intelligence operating. It's not something random. That despite everything that one has done to make sure that, the body is 6 feet under, before it reaches 6-0, this person has, out-survived all expectations. This is something very interesting. And then on the flip side, we have another body, who eats only organic, macrobiotic, and, but is always somehow, a sicky, sicky body. Despite all the health drinks and health food, grew up in the middle of an organic cabbage patch and still sick. Cabbage is supposed to be very healthy, but still sick. And this is what is the randomness. There is no randomness. There is an intelligence, there is an order. Because that order, that intelligence has to be discovered as the truth of me. I have to unite with that intelligence. I have to see that. First I have to be in awe of that intelligence. Because that's how I discover this intelligence. There is an order, it's not random. Even though these examples look random, it's not. Because what is the explanation for this body that defies all logic to be alive after everything the doctors tell you not to do? There is some intelligence there that is operating beyond the realm of what I can figure out. There is an order. There is a large, vast order of the anatomy that is very, very predictable. And amid this predictability lies this exceptions too. That is also part of that. Every rule has an exception. That's why there is a rule. That's why it's called rule. It rules. Ishate. Rules. So you have the anatomical order. If this is what happens, this is what will happen. You can trace that. That's why the doctors are able to do research and say this is what we observe. They don't know the cause. Why am I sick? They will not say we don't know, because they are charging you a lot to tell you they don't know. They will say, well, the research is underway to make you feel good. And what we do know, that this kind of a syndrome attacks people within this particular age, attacks people of a certain gender, attacks people living in a certain area of the world. How do they know this? Because there is an order, astronomical order, where you can sense the volume of the mass of the planets. Most of the things are just inferred, black holes included. And then the planets that are habitable. Hubble is telling us now. Who is Hubble? Telescope. Yeah, Hubble is saying, watch out. The habitable planets are closer than they appear. They are all around us. And they are like Goldilocks, wanted, neither too hot nor too cold for life. They are all around us. We can't see them, but they are there. We can sense them. You see, this is what is the whole thing. And the order, the physiological order, the botanical order, how the leaves fall, how they grow back, all for the sake of survival. All this is a vast order. And in this vast order, is both the intelligence that created this order, that is maintaining this order, and that is resolving this order, all that is happening as we see it. Even on the micro level, a thought is born, and by the time I say is, it's gone. Who sustains that order of thoughts? This is the psychological order, the order of the mind. Even in derangement, there is an order. Yeah, because that's how they are able to treat deranged people. People who have that certain patterns are discerned in the derangement. They will say that if you have this particular disorder of the mind, then that person who has this disorder will behave. These are the list of symptoms. It includes hallucinations, it includes violence, this is all a list. How are they able to make list if everything is random? It's not, it's orderly. And even on the, even if we are not dealing with psychosis, we're dealing with garden variety neuroses that everyone, all the jivas appear to have. Even there is an order. That given this abandonment, the person will behave in these kinds of ways. This is how the mind is going to behave. This is how the person is going to behave. These are the conclusions that the person will come to. So if there is abandonment, this is what will happen. That's why they can make these typologies. Adult children of alcoholics, adult children of the mentally ill, adult children of this. There are all these societies. Why? Because you can map those symptoms and recognize those symptoms. Adult children of traumatic experiences. That's why we have that trauma healing project, where we have some of our events. Adult children of, war. Adult children of any other kind of a collective abuse. Adult children of satanic cults. All these things are there. And each one has a list of symptoms, a list of hurts. And because of the hurts, a list of behaviors. And in that behavior, in that list of behavior, is also a way to overcome that. That's why there are books on, inner children. What do these inner children look like for these kinds of hurts? How to, embrace these inner children. That is also given. You see, this whole thing is given. The hurts are given, the symptoms are given, behaviors are given, how to overcome and heal from those hurts are also given. And none of it is random. These are all the orders. And these orders are very difficult to miss in the universe. Anybody who is intellectually honest and who has the mind of the scientist learns to appreciate these orders. In fact, science is not against Bhagavan. In fact, the scientists are all rishis. They are ecstatic when they see a pattern because they are in touch with the source. They may not call it Ishvara. Einstein came close to that. He said that, when you are looking at this pattern, you are looking at God, he said that. And it's true. This is what we say is God. These patterns which include me, which include the viewer, even on the relative level, even though there is a split between viewer, viewed, I see that it encompasses, the physiological order encompasses this body. The psychological order includes this mind. And there is a continuum of minds. This side completely crazy, this side completely sane. There is a continuum. And all this is because there is an order. You can have mathematics. You can calculate. You can do this. This is what is discernible. And why won't I want to know it? And how to know this order? I cannot become a PhD from, biology to, physics and astronomy. I can't keep earning PhDs in everything to know the order. I have to have that master key which unlocks the truth of all orders. That is what this Upanishad is. It's the master key that unlocks the secret of these orders. So I have to see that order and not think of everything as random, accidental, because nothing is accidental. Even dental problems are not accidental. Yeah. Why only your tooth hurts? Why only now? Yeah, why not the neighbor's tooth is hurting? Why only now? And here is one more order that we tend to miss. What is that? The order of karma. That is also a law, a karmic law. We tend to miss that, even though it is unfolding every day. And where is this karma coming from? It's not coming from some wrathful or loving God who is dispensing favors or retracting those favors. No. It's coming from the fruits of my own action, either in this life or other lives. Even if you're not ready to take on the concept of other lives, even in this life, plenty I have done. Plenty I have done and I keep doing. And why does this karma come? Why are these, fruits of action are there? Because that is also a law. In fact, it is expressed in thermodynamics. Every action has a reaction that is equal. The opposite part you can leave. Yeah, equal. Everything has a reaction. Whatever you do to beget, every action begets a response. So on the karmic level, that response comes back as the fruit of my own actions to be endured in this life. But what is the litmus test for the action and the results? That's another order that we miss. Dharma. These are two interrelated orders that I tend to miss in my discussions of the whole. And what is this dharma? Dharma is that which is sensed in every heart. Whether it's a Buddhist heart or a Christian heart or Islamic heart or Hindu heart or an atheistic heart, it is still sensed. That is what we say is Ishvara, the manifestation of God within. Because there is a sensation, there is an understanding that this is not correct, that I don't want to be hurt and I should not hurt other people. This is just a basic thing that is sensed. And all that theologies and religions do is to help us to stay on course. That's what they do. When they say, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not do this. This is the problem. That we don't understand it. We see this as a mandate of God. And this is where we go wrong. For us, it's not a mandate of, dharma is not a mandate of God. It's the manifestation of God. And whenever that dharma is violated, karma, it becomes an order to be reckoned with. To be, it becomes a force to be reckoned with. You see, it's all an order. The whole thing is a vast order. And who is this I? The I in relation to this order is a different I, apparently. Looks like there are two I's. One is the one who is very quick to get into that swimmy feeling of all is one. That I is very much there. But then there is the relative fellow, the ahankara, the I notion that says, this body belongs to me, this mind belongs to me, this house belongs to me, this karma belongs to me, this everything belongs to me, mine. This I, in relation to the order, occupies the dubious distinction of being ordered. There is the order. And then there is from one standpoint, this I is the one that is ordered around helplessly, in the grip of karma, in the grip of dharma. And if you don't believe in karma or dharma, doesn't matter, in the grip of the weather. Yeah. You looked out, you say, it looks like there are clouds, but right now it's not raining. Let me catch a walk. And you go, as soon as you go out, it starts raining. This is what it is. Somebody else goes, no problem. When you go, it only rains on your head. This is something very interesting. So even if you don't want to believe in karma, dharma, etc., just see the order. See the order in other ways. And see that this I, the transacting fellow, the one who transacts the empirical reality, is always under the spate, under the force of these orders. Whatever I want, the neighbor gets. Whatever I don't want, and even what the neighbor doesn't want, I get. So I am under the spate of this order. So I spend my whole life trying to manufacture what I call happiness. And then what happens? Somebody else, some other invisible force seems to be in charge of this manufacturing plant of happiness. And seems to implant only sorrow in my life. How? Always I don't feel free. Something or the other is bothering me at the level of the collective. I am a jiva, and under this rubric of this whole, thumb of the ruled, that's why it's called rule of thumb. Yeah. I come under the thumb of the one who is ruling, or whoever that is, even if I don't want to say the word God. Even if I have a cough, if I try to say the word God, still I find that it's not a free existence. There seem to be a lot of, like a hurdle race, in Olympics, and these hurdles are put every so many meters, you have to jump, you have to run and then jump, you have to run and then jump. This is what? The whole life one is jumping through hurdles and hoops that dash all hopes, and this is what it is. And then I find that this is not a free existence. because I'm blaming the universe for my predicament. And it's a very common practice for a number of people who have been hurt by the concept of God because of, all these theological interpretations. It's very, when they have to refer to something that is out of the control, they say, oh, the universe is giving me a hard time. The universe is giving me a present. It's okay. That's where you want to begin. Begin there. Doesn't matter. Yeah. Yeah. That's all it is. But somehow you have to acknowledge that there is such a thing. There is a force there that is impinging on my life, on my livelihood. And it appears to be random, but it is not. This I have to see. And in fact, I already know this. That there are many things, many factors I cannot control. And then after a little while, I take out the makara. There are no I take out the M. What happens? Any factor seems to be out of control. I can't control the weather. I can't control the trees. I can't control the pollen, which cause the allergies. I can't control the mother. I can't control the father. I can't control the child. I can't control the significant other. All the people in my life that I wish would go away are here to stay. And all the people I wish to have are long gone. This just shows that there is a certain deenata, dainyam, a helplessness at the level of reckoning the lot of the individual in relation to the Jagat, in relation to other jivas, and in relation to this universe, which is the new age name for God. Yeah. There seems to be a helplessness. And the resolution of this helplessness is a very important facet of liberation. In fact, it's inextricably linked to liberation from samsara. What is samsara? This feeling under this thumb is samsara. This is what samsara is. And I have to reckon this. I have to see this. There are 3 steps involved. First, I have to acknowledge that there is a force. Second is I have to make peace with it. Why should I make peace with it? It is giving me bad things. It's not giving you bad things. That's part of the understanding of making peace with it. But it's bashing me. It's not bashing you. It is how it is. There are certain things you can change. By all means, go and change. There are certain things you cannot change, even after you try life after life after life. And here is where there is a little pushti karanam, proof of what? Many lives. Reincarnation. Why? Because each time I struggle, it seems vaguely familiar. Somehow I have done this before. Somehow I appear to have, this has happened before. This has something, this is vaguely familiar. And it is so sad because last time also I didn't get it. This time also I don't appear to be getting it. And it doesn't feel like I've done this once. I feel like I've done this many, many times. There's a strange feeling of, disconcertedness. This is what it is. And I have to make peace with all the things that I cannot change. And making peace cannot happen by apathy. Okay, I have made peace. I'm not coming out from under the covers. I've learned a thing or two from the bear. What have you learned? I have learned to bear it by not facing it. By going into a enforced ersatz hibernation. Call it hopelessness, call it apathy, call it what you want. But I refuse to face. I just go to the happy place of disconnection. That is not making peace with it. That is just avoiding it. And that also one has done in other lives. That's why the bare samskara continues. Bare buddhi continues and becomes unbearable after some time. How long am I going to avoid? And therefore what? I have to be alive to the realities. And one of the realities is that of this conscious intelligence that is manifest, that is discernible as the creator in the life of this being who is supposedly finite, supposedly embodied, and from the standpoint of the transactional empirical reality that cannot be denied, yet cannot also be affirmed. We'll see that later. So this undeniable everyday reality is there. And so first I recognize that there is an intelligence that is operating on my life at the level of the empirical reality. Step number 1. Step number 2 is learning to be in the flow of this reality without stepping on anything. That is step number 2. Learning to be in acceptance. Learning to be okay with what is. Because what is Ishvara. Yeah, I've already told you the first 2 letters of is the same as the first 2 letters of Ishvara, I-S. And further, if we want to swallow that I-S is I, yeah, what is Ishvara, and once that Ishvara has been understood, assimilated, then, then I can say that there is no difference between myself and this Ishvara. That is where the liberation is. Yeah, it cannot be just at the level of everything is one. If everything is one, why am I having bad luck? If everything is one, and if I am that Brahman, then why am I not able to, manifest what I want? This is the problem with all the new age philosophy. That I am free of, that everything is one is, you can somehow sense. Even though the Shastra reveals this, but this oneness is sensed because this is what I want. And somehow vaguely up to this I can go because I'm an observant person. I see the sleep state and then I see the waking state and I say that in sleep there is no problem. Everything is one. What happens? In fact that must be the truth because that is what I want. You can use your logic. You can extend the logic. You can get to that place of wanting that oneness and even sensing that oneness in every object of desire, in every unity with the subject and the object. You can even go through some interpolations. And what is that interpolation? That all this is one. So that means what? I am the manifest. I can do anything I want. I am in charge. I am that tattva of the universe. And the new age philosophy and its downfall, meaning the place where they struggle, is what happens when you only look at one facet of Brahman. And what is the new age philosophy? You are everything. Wonderful. Very nice. Who can object to that? Who would like to object to that? Nobody. It's a universal philosophy. You are everything. And you are not just this body, mind, sense complex. Oh, sounding just like Vedanta. You're not. You're more than this body. Wonderful. You're more than this mind. You are that intelligence of the universe, which is whole, which is everything, which is limitless, which is endless. And your thought, because that it's coming from your conscious mind, there's only one consciousness. They will even say that. There's only one consciousness. Your thought is, you are the creator. You can manufacture what you want. And so, your thought brings about positivity in your life. They say it in a different tone of voice, which I cannot replicate. And your thought alone is responsible for the negativity in your and others' lives. So you manufacture your abundance, you manifest your poverty. If you are poor and you are suffering, it's because you have not learned how to manifest abundance. If you are really, if you have found out this philosophy, and how does this quote unquote enlightenment happen? It's accidental. Yeah, there's no teaching there. It's accidental. Yeah, maybe mental, maybe dental, but it's accidental. Suddenly you come upon this, and then what? And then you are in sync with everything, and the sinking feeling goes because you are in SYNC. You are in sync with everything. And then what? You should be able to, your outer reality should start changing and become more abundant, more, I don't even know, I give up. Yeah, more favorable to who you are. More of what you want should come in, because this whole philosophy is about not inquiring into the ragadveshas or suspending them. The ragadveshas are taken as part and parcel of you, even though you are supposedly this swimmy consciousness which is without a second, plus ragadveshas. And then the whole point of getting to that swimmy feeling is to be able to control the universe so that you can feed the ragadvesha the fodder that it wants. This is very problematic. This is very problematic because it's impossible. And then it is problematic because it blames the person who's unable to manifest their own reality in terms of the abundance and whatever they need. Because if you are that one consciousness, you should be able to tap into that consciousness and get what you want. And if you are not getting what you want, that means you are flawed. This is already, we have come from a very problematic theological interpretation of the so-called original sin. Because I have parents, I must be a sinner. And this sin I have to absolve. Even though somebody already absolved it for me, but still I am a sinner. How is that possible? Jesus, died, okay, for all of us, wonderful. But then why I am still a sinner? This I don't understand. Still, how can I be born in sin? If I am absolved, it should be absolved. It's not a conditional, absolution based on whether I see this or not. Whether I see this or not, it should be there. Like only when I see rain, it's raining. No, it's raining whether I want to see it or not. Even if I have the windows closed and the blinds drawn and headphones which makes me not listen, it is still raining. I cannot deny it. And so knowing only one aspect of it plummets one again into that feeling of guilt. I should know better. I am Brahman. Still I am suffering. How? Then Veda must be wrong. I am still suffering. And I am not able to manifest my reality. If I am Brahman, I should control electricity. I should control the world. I should be able to make all the dictators die. I should be able to do all this. I should be... all these shoulds, woulds, coulds. Really, it is so sad. That is why without this, there is no knowledge. There is only guilt. And a feeling of, I am bad, I must be wrong, I must not be enough. And already what? Before studying this philosophy, what were you feeling? I must be bad, I am not enough, I must be sad, I must be mad, something is wrong with me. You don't need any kind of philosophy that furthers this sense of guilt and hurt. Sick it is. Manipulative it is. You don't need that. Because already one is, flattened under the, feeling of guilt. There is so much guilt in this universe. And I think I'm responsible for, first I was sad because I thought I had made some mistakes and I was responsible for things in my life and the people I loved. And after this New Age philosophy, which only focuses on this one aspect, or one facet, one standpoint of Brahman, somehow they have intuited this. Then I have the burden for the killings in Syria and for something else happening somewhere else. Oh, I must not be in sync. That's why everyone is suffering. So therefore, this whole understanding of my place in the scheme of things and my relationship to that which is the manifest, which has the not the permanent but the tentative status of the manifester. And I right now have the tentative status of the one that is endowed with these manifestations and the one that is succumbing to the order of these manifestations. I have to make peace with that. I have to come to a place of acceptance. First I have to come to recognize that, and then I have to drop the cudgels and the rebellion of all the things that I cannot change. I have to heal the ragadveshas and the hurts, suspending some of them, weeding some of them out, hugging the rest. I have to come to a place of saying what is. I cannot, I am powerless and helpless to alter what is. However, all is not lost, because the only thing that can be altered is that I who feels powerless. And that alteration is a very important step, a very important sadhana in preparing oneself to gain this knowledge. It is that sadhana of cultivating shraddha, reverence, and bhakti, devotion, because both of those are cultivated, which is going to rid the mind of feeling that I have been cheated, I have somehow received a bad treatment, that I have been targeted for all this hurt, I have been, inordinately singled out for this hurt. Because I see the hurt, I see the order of the hurt and see that I am not the only one. This is what it takes. In everything I see the collective. I see the individual, I see the collective, I see the same order operating on the individual body, on the individual karma. And when I see it as an order, I see the same karma operating on many bodies, many minds. And I no longer feel alone at the empirical level. I don't feel targeted. I don't feel like I have been singled out for some bad mistreatment. I feel aligned with this order. I feel aligned to this flow. I start understanding this. Even if my understanding is that there are many things I cannot understand, that's an understanding. I know that I don't know so many things. That's a knowing. So that I grow to a place of accepting that I cannot, all the things that I cannot change. Grow to a place of, from trying to always do what I like, to learning to be okay with liking whatever I have to do. This is what it is. This is the growth. And this cannot be accomplished without shraddha, without giving the order and the manifester the benefit of doubt, without seeing that this is a benign manifestation. It's not something coming to target me. The gun is not always pointed against me. This is what it takes. And then the last step, first is to recognize, then to come to a place of acceptance, and the last step is to see and to falsify this whole thing. But then if it is to be falsified, why don't I start with that? Why not start with that? Why do I have to go through this whole rigmarole? It's like saying that, here you have to do all these things in order to then undo them. What is this? Are we crazy or what? So if the whole point is to transcend and to falsify, why not do that right away? That we'll see after the break. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om.